Good evening. My name is Jaquan Dawson, and this is my informative speech. What if the consequences for showering, drinking, or cooking could lead to death? How would you feel? What would you do? Who would you turn to? Today, I will be informing you about the Flint water crisis and its demise of Flint, Michigan. This topic is very near and dear to my heart because I have friends that live in Detroit, Michigan, which is not Flint, but it's close enough. So I've seen personal experiences of the despair that these people have endured during the crisis. This information is important because the governmental cutbacks can affect any state. Any 50 states, the government can control any finances and decide what they want to give different expenses to. At any time, the state's financial can be took over. I will be giving you 3 points today of the crisis. How did the crisis start? What did the crisis lead to? And what is the government doing and why it's still not over? First, how did the crisis begin? The crisis began April 2014 when the city of Flint, Michigan began supplying residents water from the Flint River. According to an article by CNN, the corners were cut because control was taken over Flint's financial area because an audit projected a $25 million deficit where $9 million was in the red for the water supply of Flint, Michigan. The crisis began when the government chose to neglect the proper precautions to treat the water, totally disregarding public health regulations. What did the crisis lead to and who was the most affected? According to the Flint water crisis death published by PBS, 90 people were sick and 12 died from a waterborne Legionella from the crisis. Many plumbing systems was coming out black, almost sewage-like, due to a high level of corrosive iron found in many homes. In a book written by Sim B, The Water Crisis and the Trapped Populations, Sim B quoted a 2014 census where 57% of the population of Flint, Michigan was African American. A whopping 41.6% of the population was in poverty. So the people most affected by the Flint water crisis was African Americans who lived in poverty. January 21st, 2015, residents of Flint toted and walked almost 10 miles to a community forum, toted jugs of water, sampling from their house to show community leaders, officials, and those over the financial regions of Flint what they were enduring in their homes. Mind you, this was almost a year later. What was the government doing and why this problem is still not over? In a timeline from History.com, it took almost 15 months for the government to acknowledge that Flint had a serious problem. It wasn't until December 14, 2015, before the city of Flint decided to declare a state of emergency. In January 16, 2016, Barack Obama grants a $5 million in aid to help Flint, Michigan. Mind you, the water situation was almost $9 million in the red. Now that you know the who, what, when, and why of the Flint, Michigan water crisis, I will leave you with this. What if you were a single parent living in Flint and you were basically living off the land because you barely made enough to get by with the town's in poverty? So basically, you were using everything you had to provide an adequate living for you and your kids, and everything you knew was stripped away from you because of the government's cutbacks. Please, people, be informed and be mindful that the government can cut back any time they want to. Please make sure that you understand what the information I'm leaving you with so you can know if it's happening in your state. Thank you and goodbye.